Tell me something about old, was it Martin Ryle you used to work with in Cambridge?
Cambridge.
Yeah.
He was the Astronomer Royal at the time. One of the two Astronomers Royal that I've met during the time.
Oh, right. So who was the other one?
The other one was, I'd have to think of his name. Francis, Graham Smith, I think he was. He became director of Jodrell Bank and so on.
Okay.
I'd have to think the details.
So tell me about Martin Ryle. What did you do with him?
Well, he was a pioneer of these aperture synthesis radio interferometers. Instead of having a big dish to collect a large amount of data, we had aerials spaced over a mile, and each individual one was merged together with usual techniques to produce the equivalent of a radio telescope of a mile circumference. And in fact that's extended now. There's a worldwide radio telescopes are connected to form one huge reflector, the equivalent. It's all done with computer synthesis.
Oh, so when you did it, what was your involvement with it and how did you facilitate
we supplied him with the coaxial cables for his first big radio telescope, which was the 1 mile radio telescope. And I went down for a few discussions, and he came up for discussions at Helsby, and I and one of my staff went down to see him several times to arrange work to be done installing cables, and we did a bit of pioneering work on corrections to be made for temperature. And in fact there are some letters in the file I mentioned under the old computer from Martin Ryle and the other radios, the other Astronomer Royal.
So tell us a bit about the actual mechanism of this telescope. How did it work, and how were your cables involved in that? What was the idea?
Well, these spaced dishes, which were sort of half a mile apart or quarter of a mile apart, I can't remember, were connected in phase with coaxial cables, and we did a whole lot of the testing and adjusting of the coaxial cables to give the right phasing.
So did the cable actually move?
No, the dish moved.
Okay.
And with one dish moved, and there was a trailing cable to it, so that it covered a half wavelength aperture, so the thing covered the equivalent of a 1 mile
Very good.
diameter.
Oh, right. Very interesting. Okay, well we'll talk more about that next time.
It's a big subject, is radio astronomy.
It is indeed.